Hi, I'm Brigham Larson with Brigham Larson Pianos, and the purpose of this video is to talk about piano buying basics. So what I'm going to cover, I'm going to talk about grand versus an upright purchase, I'm going to talk about new and used, and then finally I'm going to talk about digital versus acoustic. So let's just jump right into it. Grand versus an upright. I just had a customer that I was showing some both grands and uprights. They were open to both possibilities, and the husband asked the question: is a grand just kind of a prettier version, sort of a souped up version of an upright? And I would have to say, I suppose you could kind of twist things around and sort of make that argument, but really the answer is no. The grand is a completely different animal altogether. And so to demonstrate touch and tone and how I would answer that question, I'm going to talk about touch with these action models. And this is just a really brief, there's so much more to it, but as far as touch goes, here's an upright action model. And so what you have is the hammers that are striking vertically oriented strings, and they're crossing over the center of gravity. But this part here, called the whippen, is what is actually subject to gravity, and you don't have that full speed of not only the ricochet of the string, but also the gravity of the hammer pulling it back, because, like I said, it's crossing over gravity. Furthermore, the balance point, the center point of gravity. Furthermore, you have this part here that's called the jack, and this is totally oversimplifying it, but on the upright, the jack is the only component that is propelling that hammer towards the string, whereas on the grand piano you have two components. And again, totally oversimplifying it, but basically two components is better than one. It provides more precision, more nuance in the touch. So what you have is you have a jack here that's pushing up on this part here called the knuckle that propels the hammer towards the string. But you also have this part here, invented by Erard around the time of the French Revolution, called the repetition lever. And so that also simultaneously is contacting the knuckle, also simultaneously propelling the hammer towards the string. So there's so much more to it, and I'm happy to get into it with anybody. It's what I love to talk about. But what that enables the grand to do is be much more precise, have a much more nuanced touch, nuanced feel, greater dynamic range, better repetition. All of those things is superior in a grand piano. The other part about a grand piano that's superior is the tone. Especially in a larger piano, the bigger the piano, the better. So in grands, it's the longer; in uprights, it's the taller. So in sum, on that first point, I would say that while there might be some overlap, there might be some high-end uprights, some tall, good quality, high-quality uprights that maybe are a little bit better than lower-end grand pianos or smaller grand pianos, those kinds of things. The overall grand pianos are just far superior instruments than upright pianos. Okay, the second question, new and used, and there are certain drawbacks with both, or at least the drawback with new might be that it's just a little bit more expensive. I wouldn't say vastly more expensive, but in many cases, frankly, more often than not, the extra amount that you're paying for a piano, of course this is a completely subjective statement, but in many cases that extra amount that you're paying for brand new, the value that you're gaining for that brand new is well worth that little bit extra amount. As a general rule, pianos have excellent service. They have about 20 to 25 years, maybe 30 years, something like that. Of course, in the shop back here, and let's get a shot of the shop back in there. these pianos here that are we're working on rebuilding and refurbishing, a lot of them are 100 years old. A lot of the pianos that we refurbish, that we sell, they're 50 years old, and they've got new life now that we've refurbished them. So that's not to say that 100-year-old pianos can't be made great again, but what I'm talking about is that 20 to 25 year period where the service is going to be absolutely top notch, and beyond that they need to be refurbished. After that refurbishing, then they're going to have another 20 to 25 years of great service again, and then beyond that, a lot of times it'll be more rebuilding that is necessary. Okay, maybe I'll mention quickly before I move on to the final topic that well, let's just move on. Okay, digital and acoustic. Okay, many people will say, usually they're salesmen, will say, oh yeah, there's no difference between digital and acoustic pianos, and that digital technology has come so far that it's virtually indistinguishable. This is garbage. Ultimately, what it comes down to with a piano is touch and tone, and there is no piano, no digital piano in existence that comes even close to a real piano. It's a synthetic copy of the real thing. And so touch and tone, no question. And any musician, any real musician will agree with me. Touch and tone is so far superior on an acoustic piano. What you have in a and then there's a value proposition that I'll talk about here in just a second. While you might have some advantages of a digital piano, it's more portable. You can play with headphones. You can play the flute or the organ or whatever. They're up front anyway. They're less expensive generally. Digital pianos are. What I said a minute ago, my opinion comes down very strongly, heavily on the side of acoustic pianos. Ultimately, you've got, in terms of touch and tone, you have levers and springs, weights in a digital piano that are simulating artificially the real touch, like I was showing you on the action models, the real touch of a real piano, and it just falls short. There are a number of specifics there that I'd be happy to get into another time if you maybe want to check out some of my other videos. And then as far as tone, here again, I hear customers that come in looking for pianos, and they'll say, I just was looking at digital pianos, and they said that this digital piano was sampled off of a $150,000 Bosendorfer piano, and it's the greatest sounding digital piano in the world. And while that may be true, I mean, I don't know if what they're digitally sampling, but you still have an artificial reproduction of that $150,000 Bosendorfer coming out of speakers, as opposed to right there in front of you in an acoustic piano, you have a compressed felt hammer striking a steel string under high tension that is resonating through the maple bridge into the spruce soundboard that is very large, that is giving you the true tone of a real piano, and there is no substitution for that as far as tone. And then the final point that I'll make is from a financial standpoint, they're actually not more expensive or a better deal, less expensive. Digitals are not, because of longevity. They in terms of longevity, they have more in common with a DVD player or a television or other consumer electronics like that, where they're kind of a dinosaur within 5 years. By 10 years, they're just absolutely beyond help. By 12 years, they're on the fritz and they're pretty much out. They're pretty much done. Whereas pianos, your warranty alone is going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And then beyond that, you've got, like I was talking about a minute ago, you've got another 10 years of excellent, excellent service, have it refurbished, and now you've got another 25 years of excellent service. So if you look at it in terms of, you know, needing to replace a digital piano every 10 to 12 years, it's not even a good deal from a financial standpoint. It's not even a better value. And in terms of resale, there's no comparison. An acoustic piano has excellent resale versus a digital piano, which, you know, like, I mean, who buys a used DVD player? Maybe some people, but they're going to be, you know, you pay $200 for a DVD player, and a couple years later it's going to be worth $20 maybe. And it's similar to that with digital pianos. So there you have it, piano buying basics. Lots more videos for some of those details that we didn't have time to get in on this video. Thanks for watching.